Hey friends, today I'm going to share with you prayers that God never heard before. Obviously, I do pray, and I'm confident that you spend time in prayer. But when you pray like a crazy lunatic, asking God for something weird, God does wake up to listen. His reasoning is simple. Nobody prayed like this ever before. God may not grant all your requests. Sometimes we do pray for conceptual impossibilities like God, give me a square circle. Today I'm talking about prayers that become defining moments. Your dire situations prompt a prayer, a coincidence that leads you to say something to God that you never could think before, but you never forgot what you rattled out before God. You become confident that you grabbed God's attention. You know, God heard you. You feel your request is granted, maybe in a different form than you expected. In 2008, I was unexpectedly appointed as an editor of a local language weekly called Vauraddeancho Ixtt. In English, it's like Worker's Friend. I had no background in journalism. I did not write in local language, Konkani in the Roman script. And I hate news. Yes, there were certain things in my favor. I love to read. And occasionally I wrote my thoughts on a personal journal. And I am enthusiastic to go on an adventure. As an editor, I had to read more than my normal habit. It did bog me down, especially repeatedly reading the same text to maintain an editorial standpoint. One day, I sat in my office overlooking work material to read. Before I could say I hate my work, I surprisingly told God, God, give me the grace to read at the speed of light. I did not even know what I was saying. The moment I repeated it, I figured out that I asked God something weird, like nobody in recorded history has ever asked. I was relaxed, smiling. I did feel God granted my request. I could notice things quickly. Amazing material came to me. As I often say, books come to me. The point here is that this prayer became my defining moment with God, fueled a new level of confidence that I could ask God for a stupid thing. When I find myself in awkward situation, I do shoot a prayer to heaven. One time I did pray, God, if I don't have a problem, give me one. That's crazy, asking for problems. But the idea behind was when I have a problem, it keeps me closer to God. Yes, it also makes me better to solve a problem. It's a win win scenario. In May 2019, I signed up for 3 days of fasting without food and water. It's a Native American spiritual right to connect with the Creator. Every participant had to stay in a bush alone with a 2 meter radius around your tent. You could see no one, and nobody was allowed to come to your tent. I pitched my tent on the face of the lake. Jokingly, I said, if I feel thirsty, I will jump in the lake. But it would be dangerous to do so. The water was freezing. Then I found myself saying, God, allow my body cells to absorb water as I cannot drink it through the mouth. After that, I realized that staying without food and water was easy. Staying away from work, electronics, and reading materials was challenging. The best prayers happen. Stay open and let your words flow out of your mouth. I suggested to God to work out an easy solution for coronavirus. God, you can make the sun shine, the cure on us. I was influenced by the Old Testament reading that God made Moses hang a bronze serpent on a pole. Those affected by the virus had to just look at the snake on the pole and they were saved. I don't spare the saints. I want them to intercede for my unusual prayer request. Years ago, I backpacked as a pilgrim to Europe. Antonio Colemão, a pastor in the Archdiocese of Lisbon, told me to visit the Basilica of St. Anthony of Padua. St. Anthony was born in Lisbon. He is known as the patron saint to find lost things. I visited the crypt along with other pilgrims and nothing happened. I felt like a tourist. Although I did not understand Portuguese, I decided to con-celebrate the Mass. There were Masses celebrated almost every hour at the shrine. When the Mass is about to begin, the pilgrims are not allowed in the crypt. But being a priest, I had all the time to spend in the crypt, alone. Silence filled the area. I knelt down, not knowing what to pray for, and a prayer busted out. Saint Anthony, don't take the trouble to find something that I lose. Just don't bother to bring back a material thing. But if I lose my priesthood, then find it back for me. If I lose my person, allow me to discover it again. These are not just prayers God heard for the first time. These are defining moments that shape us, nurture our relationship with God. As I say, change your prayer and you will never be the same again. I encourage you to ask God for big things. Why ask for a chocolate when God can give you a chocolate factory? Asking for an iPhone when God can grant you a whole operating system to connect in a super cool way? But be cautious, never to force yourself to pray. Prayers are counterintuitive, they are simple and mysterious. I'm sure you have defining moments of prayer, prayers that God never heard before. Please share such prayers in the comments sections below. Enjoyed my video? Subscribe it. Hit the bell and you will be the first to be notified when I upload a new video. Share my videos with your friends and tell them to subscribe.